Okay, so now we've got all the indexing done, we've got all of the keywords done, right? Now let's move on to why does this happen? Why does it take forever for Google to do anything, right? I mean, it's just, sometimes it can just be a real pain in the butt, you know what I mean? Google can just, but it does take some time, and let's understand why that happens, what that means for us, and what we can do with that time as well, right? And why it happens both practically and more theoretically, right? Stuff that hasn't happened yet. So why does it take so long? So time, why, right? That's kind of the main question. Why is the time taking so long? And the main reason for this, right, is that you get a long SEO take with most videos, right? No. Here it is, okay. So the quiet months and why it takes so long for anything to happen with Google, they're roots, not failure. It's like roots growing in, you know what I mean? With a plant, you don't see them, but the roots are growing in like carrots, kind of, you know what I mean? Like the underside of it that you don't see. It's getting that foundation, that root structure, that good foundation, so then you can grow later. So what does this mean for us, right? Like after we get all done with the work, you fix your site, write the pages and everything, why does the time take so long? So let's understand why that is, what we can do with it, why we even want to know it, right? So after we get all the work done, you know, you expect results instantly. The first thing to realize is that it's not instant. It takes days, really, a minimum. So it's not instant at all. It's not going to happen the same day. You know, it's very rare for that to happen. I should say that. Sometimes it does happen. Very rare. It can be slow and then fast and then slow. You know, there's very different. There's a lot of different things that changes, and then sometimes it can't even be your website, right? Maybe the competition, maybe it's Google itself changed. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that's interacting here, right? So what we'll do is we'll cover the invisible pipeline, the visible roots, right, and understand all of that, so we can understand why it takes so long. So the invisible pipeline, right? Why nothing shows up at first. So why is that? Why is it invisible? Well, there are a couple reasons, right? First, it has to crawl, index, and evaluate, so it takes a while. So it's costly in large amounts, right? So there's a lot of different web pages out there. So there's a lot of different large amounts of data for it to go through, and it takes a while to go through them all, right? I mean, Google doesn't have an infinite amount of compute, or they would be like, you know, the leader in AI or whatever. But anyways, so there, and it's also not like instant right away after you get crawled. You have to get indexed, you have to get sorted, you have to get keyword, you know what I mean? There's like a lot of different things that go on in those 3 different steps as well. So that takes the time as well. And then there's also what we like to call an evaluation period. So that's when you're like kind of probationary, you're like on probation. They try to check you for copyright, they try to check, you know, they check you for a lot of different things. Why do I want to show this? Do people like it? There's a lot of different things. So you're basically, at first you're running with your legs cut off. You need to build that somewhere else with that foundation, and then you can start to grow. So that does take a little while, and it can be very annoying, but that's just kind of how it is and why it has to be. It takes a while, and they want to evaluate you too. They don't want to have Google's quality with the users, because that's really the only thing that they care about is the users and everything. But anyways, so why do they make you wait? So why here is the big thing. So first it's trust, right? Trust takes time. That's one of the really big reasons. Like you can be trustworthy right now, and then in a week if you're not trustworthy, what's the point? So there's also caution with new sites, with spam, with a bunch of different things that can happen. Because if it was instant, right, why wouldn't everybody just spam out content, right? That would be just an infinite, you know, viewer glitch, I guess, is one way to put it. So use your lag also as a precaution, right? So you can update something, look at it, say, oh wait, that's wrong, I'm going to change that, right? And then change it. That's all you have to do. There's nothing huge there. So they try to filter you out for trust. They try to make sure they're cautious, or they're full of caution. Cautious probably isn't a word. But anyways, so it compounds also. So is it linear? No, right? So this is what I mean by linear, right? Growth just steady, right? Instead, it is more along the lines of that exponential, or sometimes it's like, you plateau and then you keep on going. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different things. It's just not linear. It's not like that. It's one of those two. So you're not going to see the results instantly. Like, it's going to take a little while. And I mean, that's unfortunate. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you want to see the results as fast as you can, but it's not the end of the world either, right? I mean, there's different things you can do. So after you're done realizing that it's compounding and your old viewers are going to be new viewers more often, there's like a lot of different stuff that goes into it. Right? We want to look at the roots, right? How can we analyze them? So you can try to analyze the roots with a lot of different tactics. There's a lot of different other websites out there. This is more general. So just to analyze, go over it really quickly. Use your tools. Use Google Search Console. Use all the other stuff to analyze, see what's going on. And then you can also do A/B testing. Not always, sometimes. And there's other tools out there. That's just one of the tools, really, to see what's going on, why is it going on, what do people like better, what do people like worse. There's a lot of different stuff you can do. But to analyze the roots, it's a lot harder because you're not getting straight metrics. You're not getting click-through rate. You're not getting all these other stuff. So why does it speed up a little instead of like a lot? And what resets the, your trust or whatever? So the first thing to optimize is your schedule. So be consistent with pages. Be consistent in general. They really like consistency because it shows you're dedicated to it and you're not just spamming stuff out, right? So being genuine, you too, like don't lie about things, about certifications, about all this. I mean, it'll figure out eventually and it will lower your rank. So if you just constantly change everything, it's going to be a big problem as well. We humans, we like consistency. So you don't want to do that. That can really hurt you and set you back a bunch. So now let's go over some of the myths, right? So if a CEO hasn't worked in a month, or SEO, not CEO, if SEO hasn't worked in a month, it's not working. That's not true. It's building up slowly. I mean, the organic viewers, it's difficult, but it's slowly building up. You just got to keep adding to it. Be consistent. Don't be changing things all the time. But don't be never changing things either, because it wants to be updated. So results should grow a little each week steadily. So it's not linear again. Again, it compounds. It's like compounding interest, if you've heard of that. So nothing's happening because I see no traffic. That's not true as well. We said the roots, it's compounding. At first you're going to get no traffic and it's running like your legs are cut off. You need other routes to the website. So you can get views, so you can get votes of confidence, backlinks, all this other stuff. You can't pay Google. No one's going to accept money except for Google Ads. That puts you to the top. If it's slow, it's not that big of a deal. It's normally slow. Checking my rankings every day helps. No, it just makes you more and more anxious. You should barely do it once a week, once a month. I mean, there's different times. There's not like one set. So once it ranks, it's still continually ranking other people's. So, take that as you will. Other people might overtake you in certain spots. Definitely update your information and be consistent. Again, those are the two most important things with SEO is consistency and, of course, that patience. So you want to maintenance, right? Now we're getting to the maintenance. So you want to tend the garden. So schedule, like I said before, schedule. For analyzing, for a bunch of different stuff. So you also want to not only schedule, but when you analyze, right, then you have to actually capitalize on it. So what do I mean by capitalize? Making changes, doing these little things that can add up, right? So let's go over everything one more quick time, just to go through it real quickly. All right. So why does it take so long with SEO for things to update, right? The first thing to look at is why is it not instant? It's going into days, right? So first of all, it's invisible, what's happening right now. It's compounding, and roots are growing into the tree. You don't see the top of it. So the reason why it takes a while is because it's costly, right? It's a costly process to do what Google does. And there's a large amount of websites out there. And there's also your evaluation period. So you're more on probation than anything. So why does that happen, right? trust equals time. So the more time you're dedicated and putting stuff out there, and then make sure you're human. And then you also don't want to spam it either. So you don't want to spam stuff, but you also want to be consistent with your uploads and everything. So is it linear? No. Growth is normally compounds because older viewers are going to be new viewers for other videos. Sometimes it lags, sometimes it doesn't. It really just depends on the, macro and micro factors when it comes to that. So what do we want to do next, right? So now we want to analyze everything. You can use those Google Console. You can use a bunch of different tools. A/B test, that's one of the tools to see what's going on with root. But for A/B testing, you do need viewers, so it's not really the super early stages. Anyways, so you want to optimize, you want to capitalize on that analytics, right? So you want to be consistent and be genuine. Those are the two broader things. There's obviously smaller things that is in the rest of the series. But then you want to do maintenance, right? So schedule once a week, once a month, when to look at it, and then analyze and capitalize on it. You can analyze the roots as well. Don't get me wrong. It's more difficult because you don't just have direct stats. But yeah, you can do that as well. So once again, my website